What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for playpicks.com and thelines.com. I'm going to talk to you about the wild card round here in the NFL playoffs. And yeah, I'm going to act excited here to keep from crying because the NFL regular season is over. I'm heartbroken, actually, that the NFL regular season is over. We had a great NFL season, nice, profitable NFL season. Let's hope that we can carry this on into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl as well. As always, guys, head over to thelines.com. You get a full written breakdown of the games. You can head to playpicks.com as well. Get a full written breakdown of the games as you see right here. So be sure and take advantage of those. If you came for a short video today, sorry. I got a lot to talk about with this game. I got a lot of different ways that we're going to look at this game, trying to give you the very best information you can have that you can take to your sports book and make the bet that you want to make. And you can feel confident in your bet because you're going armed with all the information humanly possible for this game right here. And again, as always, be sure and head over to the lines and play picks and whatnot and take advantage of any of these sportsbook offers that are going on. If you're going to play in any of the regulated jurisdictions in Jersey, Pennsylvania, Indiana, West Virginia, any of those places, be sure and take advantage of these sign-up offers. If you're on your phone and you're watching this, you can go to dkpicks.com or fdpicks.com. DK is in DraftKings, FD is in FanDuel, picks.com. And that'll actually just take you right to a sign up page for either one of those sports books. And you can get the best offers there if you're out and about, you want to go about that. All right, guys, Bills and the Texans here. Let's talk about how this line went down. We can take a look, as we always do over here on DraftKings, where we'll let you kind of take a look at how they open the games and how things went. You can see this thing opened up at 3.5 in favor of the Texans, immediately bought to 2.5. You can see, I mean, this lasted, the three only lasted at 3.5 for about 3 hours, gets to 3, then another couple hours here later, all the way to 2.5. Now it has toggled back and forth between 3 and 2.5, where we sit at 2.5 right now. Total, real quick on the climb, opens at 41. All the way up to a peak of 44. That was about a day ago, to where we sit right now at 43.5 over on DraftKings. So here we are, 2.5. That is juiced. You can see this thing right now could be heading in a certain direction, but 2.5 here, 43.5 on the total. Over at FanDuel, same deal, 2.5. And 43.5, you see the juice on the 2.5. So we could be heading to 3 here on this game. Dome game, don't have to worry about the weather. So nothing to worry about there at all. And I'll scroll down a little bit if you want to read along. If you're watching, if you're on a screen where you can watch, let you read along at home. Bills 10-6 overall, 9-5-2 against the spread. Texans are 10-6 overall, 7-8-1 against the spread. The injuries we are watching on the Bills side of deals, Shaq Lawson and Levi Wallace. Shaq Lawson and Levi Wallace both listed as questionable. Levi Wallace, of course, the other corner over there opposite of Trey White. Trey White, one of the very best corners in the entire NFL, if not the very best corner in the NFL. You got Levi Wallace, on the other hand, 71st out of 128 corners rated by Pro Football Focus. Texans, the big question is going to be around Will Fuller. Will Fuller, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? NFL Network's James Palmer says that he is a, quote, real long shot to play in this game. So we'll talk about some splits with and without Will Fuller for this Texans offense. Certainly something that you might want to consider as you go to handicap this game. J.J. Watt will return for this Texans team on the defensive side of the ball. There's been some mixed reports as to how much he's going to play, whether he's just going to come in on obvious passing downs and try to disrupt and do some stuff there, or whether he's going to be on the field a lot, kind of getting mixed reports from different beat writers. So just take that with that we know that we don't know is basically where we sit right now with this. I'll continue to scroll up here a little bit more if you want to continue to read along. How about this Bills offense? And actually, I'll click over to Play Picks so you can take a look over here. Here we go on the Bills offense, averaging 19.6 points per game, 330.2 yards per game. That comes by way of 202 yards passing, 128 yards rushing. 5.2 yards per play, not very much. Passing the ball 54.3% of the time. Number 22 ranked overall offense according to DVOA. Let's talk about the passing offense for this team. Number 23 ranked pass offense, DVOA. Number 25th graded pass offense by Pro Football Focus. 17th graded pass blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. So you can see bottom third of the league, bottom half of the league. They ran 11 personnel. If you don't know what that means three wide receivers out on the field at the same time, 76% of the time. That is actually the fifth most in the entire NFL. Rush offense here for this Bills team. Number 17th ranked rush offense, DVOA. 19th rush offense by Pro Football Focus. 16th run blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. So kind of right in the middle of the pack here as far as a rushing team goes. Converted just 35.8% of their third downs so far this year. That was only 24th in the league. Not good at moving the chains. Red zone touchdown percentage of 56.8%. Scroll a little bit more. And the Texans offense, 23.6 points per game, averaging 362 yards per game. That comes 236 passing, 125 rushing, 5.7 yards per play. So an entire half a yard per play more for this Texans offense than the Bills offense. They pass the ball 57.3% of the time. I don't think of them as being one of the more run heavy teams in the league, but they actually run the ball the 10th most out of any team in the league. I know you think about, DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller, and now they've got Kenny Stills and all the stuff like that. And you think about, this high flying offense, and that's actually not the case. They run the ball 10th most in the league. 17th ranked overall offense, DVOA. Now let's just talk about the pass offense here. 15th ranked pass offense by DVOA, 14th by Pro Football Focus, number 6 graded pass blocking unit. And a lot of that has to do with Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil graded as the 5th best pass blocker in all of football this season by Pro Football Focus, and he is going to be out there for this Texans team. Really, really big for them. Really, really big for Deshaun Watson. Now, without Will Fuller on the field, should he decide to sit, they run the third most 12 personnel in the entire league, 12 being 2 tight ends on the field at the same time. So this offense shifts a lot with and without Will Fuller out on the field here. So we'll have to see if that, plays into your handicapping whatsoever as to how they're going to run their personnel here. Their rush offense, 11th ranked rush offense, DVOA, 4th graded rush offense by Pro Football Focus. 4th rated rush offense by Pro Football Focus. This Texans team. Again, you wouldn't think about this. The run blocking unit, not all that great, actually way down at 27. So they're actually getting it done despite the fact that they don't grade out all that well according to Pro Football Focus on the run side. Converting 43.5% of third downs. That's actually 8th best in the league. Red zone touchdown percentage of 64.1%. And that is 7th best in the league. Scroll a little bit further if you want to take a look here. Pace of this game, Texans 14th in situation neutral pace, Bills 11th in situation neutral pace. So both in the upper half of the league here. The Bills are actually been running a lot more no huddle offense since week 9. So basically the second half of the season, been running a lot more no huddle offense as well. Only the Cardinals ran more no huddle and passed the ball, and no team ran the no huddle and ran the ball more than the Bills did. So actually pretty interesting that they adjusted how this offense was really going about things for the second half of the season. So lots more no huddle offense for them. Going to come down here for a betting breakdown if you want to read along here on the lines. Let's talk about these defenses. Bills defense averaging, allowing only 16.2 points per game and only 298 yards per game. Now, they did play some weaker opponents, but that's neither here nor there. Really, really good defense. 195 passing, 103 rushing. 17th ranked defense overall, DVOA. So this is like, you see the numbers, but then now you're getting to these rankings and these advanced statistics. 17th DVOA overall. Now, 5th against the pass. We talked about how good Trey White has been, one of the best corners in all of the NFL, but 18th against the run, DVOA. Pro Football Focus actually has them as the 10th best defense. And of course, they do different metrics than DVOA does. 14th rated pass rush, number 4 in coverage. No shocker there. We talked about how good the pass defense has been. Gave up 4.8 yards per play on the season and allowed 35.8% of third downs to be converted. On the Texans side of things here, and I will actually roll here to the live odds page so you guys can take a look at that. This is over in Pennsylvania at these numbers here. Again, 2.5 across the board over in Pennsylvania as well. Texans defense, 24.1 points per game allowed, 388 yards per game. That's 267 passing, 121 rushing. Gave up a lot of yards through the air, this Texans defense. 26th ranked defense DVOA overall. 26th. 26th against the pass, 22nd against the rush DVOA. Pro Football Focus says they're bad too. 24th overall defense here. 20th pass rush and 24th in coverage grade. Now the pass rush, of course, J.J. Watt misses the majority of the season, yada, 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 but still 24th in coverage as well. Giving up 6.1 yards per play. That is a lot. And opponents converting 48% of third downs against this defense. That's 31st in the league. Second worst in the league as far as giving up third downs. All right, so let's flip over here and let's make a case for the under. If we want to make a case for the under in this game, and if you're leaning towards the under here, again, we've seen this thing bet up, from the opener of 41 all the way up to 44, now back down to 43.5. If you want to play the under, Deshaun Watson's drop back splits with and without Will Fuller. This is whether could be a way that you want to go with the under here. You're going to say, you know what? I believe this beat reporter and he says that Will Fuller's not going to go. So I'm going to play the under. On the field, 337 plays with Will Fuller, and that's this season, 78.2 EPA. That is expected points added, right? Off the field, 247 plays, minus 4.3 EPA with Will Fuller off the field. Pass offense sputters when Will Fuller is not out there. Passing success rate, 55.7% with Will Fuller, 52.8% without Will Fuller. Tre'Davious White, if you wanted to make a case for the under as well, okay, say he locks up on DeAndre Hopkins. Tre'Davious White, 599 snaps on this season that he played in coverage, 0 touchdowns allowed. 0 touchdowns that he gave up this year. Was targeted over 80 times, 0 touchdowns. Bills allowed teams to score on just 24.4% of their possessions. That is second best in the league. And they only got in the end zone. So that's just scoring in the red zone. Now we're talking about reaching the end zone, right? 15.6%, which was second in the league as well. That trails on only the Patriots in both of those categories. So that could lead you to an under here. All of those different ways that this thing could get under. Good defense, not allowing a ton of scoring. Houston's offense, not as good without Will Fuller on the field, yada, yada, yada. All right, let's make a case for the over. If you want to go over 43.5, again, we saw this thing bet up rapidly from the opener of 41. Houston's defense allowed opponents to score on 41% of their drives and score a touchdown on 28% of those drives. That is 24th and 29th in the league, respectively. Since week 11, that was their bye. Since the week 11 bye, Houston, 34th in points saved in pass coverage. 31st, I'm sorry. 31st in points saved in pass coverage. Been terrible in the secondary. League worst, 53% positive play rate on third down. We talked about how bad they were on third down. It's been even worse since their bye. Can't get these other teams off the field, allowing them to convert these third downs. Fortunately for them, the Bills aren't that good on third down, but still, something's got to give here. Here's another reason for the over. Maybe if you want to lean towards this thing is the Bills increase in no huddle, like I talked about. Since the middle of the season here, since week 9, completely kind of shifted how this offense went and really running the no huddle a lot more, really increasing the speed how this offense goes. If you want to also look at how this thing could be over, how about this Buffalo run defense? 15th in EPA allowed on the ground and 20th in points saved when it comes to their run defense here. So the run defense has actually been giving it up. I don't know why more teams didn't attack this team on the ground more than they did this year. And you look at Houston's run offense, actually top 10 in 3 different categories. Again, we don't really think of this Houston team being that good on the ground, but points earned, EPA, positive play rate, all top 10 in the NFL for this Houston run offense. And again, that is the actual weakness of this Buffalo Bills defense. So will Houston go out there? Will Bill O'Brien be sharp enough? We'll see. All right, so let's talk about some props here. Those are the case for the over and under here. Let's talk about some props. And first and foremost, we're actually going to go over here to FanDuel because I found this one. if we believe, and now you have to believe, right? If we believe that they are going to go about attacking this Bills defense at their weakest, which would be running the ball. We know that Carlos Hyde has definitely is their number one back there. He has taken over that role, and he is a dude that we are, 100% sure is going to get the bulk of the carries for this team. Anytime touchdown, plus 140 for Carlos Hyde. This Bills defense, when teams do get in the red zone, they face way more runs than they do passes. Carlos Hyde, plus 140, and you're actually getting a much better price over here. If we go to player props, you can see Carlos Hyde's only 110 over here on DraftKings. So you're getting 140 over here on FanDuel. If you believe that this Texans team isn't going to get completely shut down, and if you believe they're going to play to the strengths of their offense and the weaknesses of the Bills defense, Carlos Hyde at plus 140, really do like that as an anytime touchdown scorer in this game. Another thing I'm going to look at is DeAndre Hopkins over props here. And I think that it's going to be very trendy for people to try to play under props on DeAndre Hopkins. You can see that the total here, 76.5 is the yardage over on FanDuel. And if we come down here to DraftKings, it's 77.5. So if we're going to play over, we're going to do it over here at FanDuel. So he got over this number of 76.5 yards in 8 of 15 games that he played this year. So more than 50% of the time he gets over this. 2 of the times he didn't were against Jacksonville. One of the times was when they still had Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey shadowed him in that game. One of the other times was just kind of the bad game flow there. Jacksonville was a putrid run defense this year, and they ran all over them. And so the game flow just really went that direction. However, we look here, he got 8 or more targets in 6 of the games that he didn't get to the 76.5. So the opportunity was still there. The opportunity was still coming his way. A couple of those games got double-digit targets that just did not work out. So again, the volume is there. Got there over 50% of the time. A couple of times it was just the game script that didn't get him there. So I do like the over here. Now you're going to say, what about Trey White? You just talked about how awesome he is. I agree. I'm not talking about DeAndre Hopkins scoring a touchdown here. I'm just talking about him getting yards and yards on volume. Also, Trey White came out on Saturday. Now this could be on Friday, and this could be just smoke and mirrors or whatever. But he said, I don't think it's going to be a one-on-one matchup. Whenever he comes lined up on the left side, I've got to be on my best game. And when he lines up on the right, Kevin or Levi's got to be on his best game. It's going to take all 11 of us to try and limit him. We know he's one of the best in the league. So Trey White's trying to say that he's not going to shadow him in this game. Now, he did shadow him last year on 69% of the routes that Hopkins ran. So when they played last year, Hopkins was shadowed by Trey White 69% of the time. Now, is this Trey White trying to just come out and, do whatever gamesmanship, if you will, or something like that? I don't know. But he's trying to come out and say that he's not going to be shadowing DeAndre Hopkins. I would be surprised, but pretty interesting with that quote that we got from Trey White right there. The other thing I'm going to play, basically all Cole Beasley overs. Give me the, 50.5. I think you can get it a little bit lower over here. Yeah. So give me the over 47.5 on DraftKings, Cole Beasley. Give me over Cole Beasley receptions. I mean, Cole Beasley's just become that security blanket for Josh Allen in this offense. And we talked about if you can get at this Houston Texans secondary for sure. So would not surprise me to see Beasley have upwards of 8 or 9 catches in this game. So getting the over of 4.5 receptions, give me that all day long, and definitely the over on 47.5 yards. So those are actually already in my account and feeling really, really good about those prop bets. All right, let's talk about the sides and the total here and how we're going to go about this, guys. So full disclosure, I always do this. If you guys have watched these videos, you know how this goes down. Full disclosure, I tell you exactly, I've already bet these games. So this opened as Bills plus 3.5. I took Bills plus 3.5. That was when it looked like Will Fuller was not going to play in this game. I was like, okay, big difference here. I think that, getting more than a field goal with the Bills is great. Then it came out Will Fuller was practicing, and all of a sudden beat writers now saying, oh no, it looks like Will Fuller's going to go. This line goes to 2.5. And now I took it back on 2.5 as well. I got 110 on both sides, so I'm not losing anything other than the normal juice here. And I have a field goal for a middle, right, as a win on both sides. So that's kind of how I'm already invested in this game. I do believe this game could certainly be a field goal game, and I feel pretty good about it being a pretty close, hard fought game in this one. So. Again, I'm on both sides of the 3 in this one. Fortunate enough to be able to get down on both sides of the 3 in this thing. As we can see, this thing's going to be on the move to 3. So if however you want to go about, playing this game, if you already have a 2.5 in your account, if you want to wait till it gets to 3 and basically you have a free bet on the 2.5, then, if you took the Bills at 3, I wouldn't hate you for doing that either. So much really does depend with this offense on how much Will Fuller's going to be out on the field. One of the things that worries me, and one of the reasons why I was on the Bills, initially quickly, was with him out on the field. Obviously they sputter, but also I got to thinking about the re-injury part of this, right? I mean, even if he does go, soft tissue injuries, we've seen these wide receivers time and time again go out there and try to give it a go. They run 5 routes and then they're on the sideline, right, for the rest of the game. So. But then you keep reading, oh no, he's fine. He's going to be good to go and yada, yada, yada. And then, it falls to under a field goal. And I think this Texans team is superior really at most facets other than the coaching, right? I mean, if you look, you're definitely taking Deshaun Watson over Josh Allen. You're probably taking Carlos Hyde over Devin Singletary. I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a push, but without a doubt, you're taking DeAndre Hopkins over John Brown as wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2 is Cole Beasley for the Bills here. And I mean, listen, even if Fuller doesn't go, you still have Kenny Stills, who has, certainly, I would assume, definitely has more talent. I mean, they're completely different roles with him and Cole Beasley. But, if you look at basically, how these teams break down on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, you're going to take the Texans, way, way, way more than you're ever going to take the Bills. And especially in the problem with being as bad as this Texans defense is, can Josh Allen and this Bills offense really do anything? Because we've just seen them sputter time and time and time again, and have the defense just continue to grind out and win them these games, these really, really close games. And so, if I had to play it right now at 2.5, I would play the Texans 2.5. And if you wanted to do that, I would not fault you one bit. But again, this thing's going to be on its way to 3. So certainly something that if I were you, I would, if you want the 2.5, even though you're going to have to pay a little juice, you're going to have to get down, I would imagine pretty soon here, because this thing will be moving to 3, certainly before kickoff. No doubt about that. The total is the thing that's interesting to me, as it sits at 43.5 right now. If this thing goes back up, as we know, most casual bettors like to bet the over. And if you don't know the key numbers of totals, minor kind of key number, the first one's 37, get to 41 key number, then 44. 44 being your next key number when it comes to totals. If this thing gets bet back up at 44, I might just play the under without, getting the push probability there and whatever, the kind of the push out. If this thing gets over 44, I'm probably going to play the under fairly heavily in this game. So certainly something I would be looking at pretty closely if I were you. And I'm going to be looking at this game as a whole, just live a lot, right? So let's say a really quick score comes down, just a really quick fluke score, whatever it might be, some sort of broken play or a special teams play or whatever it might be. And this total gets out of hand. They pop it back up at, 46.5 or something like that. I will be pounding the under live in this game. Look, we talked about why. Bills run the ball a lot, and also it's very, very tough for them to move the chains, right? I mean, they're just not very good at moving the chains and sustaining drives and scoring a lot of points. It's just not conducive to the way this offense is. And listen, if we assume Bill O'Brien, not the sharpest coach, I do think he's been better this year than he has been in years past. If he is going to play this game the way that it is most likely for them to win, you're going to run the ball against the Bills, right? That is what goes on here. You are going to run the ball against the Bills because that is the weak spot in this defense, and that is actually the strength of your offense. You have been really, really good at running the ball so far this year. So I think this game could play a little bit slower than even some of this stuff, even some of the numbers and metrics kind of bear out here. I think if you go about the rationalization of assumptional coaching here, the rationalization, and we're assuming that there's going to be rational coaching in this game, then I'm going to go ahead and go with, that this game is going to play a little bit slower than maybe these numbers kind of bear out a little bit, and that we're going to be looking at an underplay here. But again, waiting for this thing to get to 44 and a half would be a dream scenario for me. And anything live, if this thing were to get out of control with a quick score, I would highly recommend playing the under on that as well. Again, but my main plays, I really like the like the props in this thing. Really like the anytime score for Carlos Hyde. Really like the overs on Cole Beasley a lot, and I think playing the overs on Hopkins as well. Kind of a little bit less, right? I mean, I think the full units, maybe a little bit more on the Hyde full. Same with Cole Beasley, whatever. Maybe a little bit less on DeAndre Hopkins in case he does happen to get shut down by Trey White. He actually had a pretty decent game against this Bills team last year and had some success against Trey White too. So DeAndre Hopkins, top 5 wide receiver in all of the league. He's not going to get completely shut down by anybody. Guys, appreciate you watching this video. Again, head over to thelines.com. You can get all of these bonuses. You can get all the free write-ups and everything. Same deal over here at PlayPicks. You can take a look at all of the write-ups. Everything is free as well. Very best sign-up offers on all of the internet there as well. And while you're here, please like the video and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll be back for all the other playoff games as well.